Ladies and gentlemen, today we have a Porsche 718 Spyder, essentially the GT4 with the roof chopped off, and this car has been very tastefully modified by Jeff. The full list is down in the description, but a couple things you need to know. Number one, he added the DSC controller, which essentially unlocks more of the capabilities of the dampers. So if the original dampers are operating from Porsche factory from 20% on the soft to 80% on the stiffer setting with PASM enabled, he was explaining to me that it's essentially now 10% to 100%, so they broadened the range, and he also added some stiffer Swift springs. So with the 20% stiffer springs, he's trying to get something similar to the suspension feel with PASM disengaged, and with PASM engaged, he wants it more stiff because he just tracked this car, and he is a very fast driver. You can see some of his lap times linked in the description. Also, we have some aftermarket bushings, which has done a lot for the steering feel. So with that out of the way, let's see how she drives. Gotta love this black on black on black. He does have these carbon bucket seats, but these are great carbon bucket seats because normally they're too upright and it's a bit uncomfortable, but he has these with an extra 15 degrees of slant, or rake he was saying, which makes them so much more comfortable. And pretty toasty day up here in the Bay Area. Get this bad boy into drive. Go into manual mode. We're gonna have PDK Sport is enabled, which improves the cooling. We'll have Porsche exhaust enabled as well. Keep those valves open. We're gonna have PASM engaged for a little bit before we turn it off. It might be too stiff for this road. But one thing that's really impressive here is that Porsche maintained the same actual weight of this vehicle to the GT4, even though they're removing the roof, maintaining that rigidity and have a very light convertible mechanism. So the same weight, around 3,200, and that same 4-liter flat six, naturally aspirated, 416 horsepower, 309 pound-feet of torque. And right off the bat, this is a very, very stiff car. Oh, nice rotation with throttle. Oh my God. We have some aftermarket brake pads here, which took a bit of time to get warmed up on the way up, but now at a good operating temperature, really nice initial grab, very easy to modulate, not too grabby. Oh, I love this open top experience. The sound is so good. Thank you! Now the bushings have really transformed the steering. This feels so much more alive than in the 718 GT4 I just drove an hour ago. Really great feedback, very direct. Feels a little bit heavier too, which I'm confused by because it should be the same weight, but it feels slightly heavier than the GT4. I'll start PASM off. It's a little bit bumpy at this section. The suspension tuning is really, really impressive, and I would say is the highlight of this car. That and the open top experience with the sound. As you're going over bumps mid-corner, the car's not getting upset. It's absorbing with a single compression, staying super level, great body control. You know, as much as I love manual transmissions, I wouldn't knock someone for getting a PDK. It's just so good, so immediate. And being able to downshift into first so easily and smoothly when you want to on these lower speed corners, it's something that you just can't really do with the manual transmission. You're never really downshifting into first. Thank you. Man, a lot of nice, polite people today. I always hated the Porsche bucket seats, but this has changed my mind. When you get a little bit more tilt on the backrest, they're super comfy, super supportive, without being too restricting and uncomfortable. Yeah, the suspension, can you guys see that? It's like a single compression, super dialed in. The way it's absorbing this far from ideal road. Wow. Steering is super on point, really up there with the best of Porsche EPS. The transmission with the PDK, I mean, glorious. Suspension, so with the PASM engaged versus disengaged, really impressive in both. I mean, this road's a bit bumpy for the PASM being engaged, at least at certain segments, but really well-sorted suspension. That's probably the most impressive part of this vehicle, actually. The brakes, initially when they were cold, I was like, what is going on? But as soon as you got some heat into them, feel brilliant. The owner does track this pretty heavily, so very appropriate for track and for canyon carving, but obviously for just puttering around town, you're not gonna get as much heat into them, which is gonna give you a less consistent brake pedal. I normally don't even like convertibles, but this car, it's like the S2000 and this car just really, they just strike something differently for me. And this car today, out of the 718 GT4, the Lotus Evora, and this one is making me laugh and smile the most, actually. I think the input's a little bit better. You know, the Cayman GT4 steering was bothering me a little bit. The transmission, manual transmission was good, but not quite as brilliant as I was hoping for. And this PDK is fantastic. The steering is on point. The engine note, the open top experience on a nice, beautiful California day. What a vehicle. Initially, I was totally team hardtop, but now if I had to choose between a GT4 and a Spyder, I don't know, man. They're both so good, and you're not really making that much of a compromise here. Obviously, if it was your daily, then you're gonna want the hardtop, a little bit more practical in case you want to put something on the rack and just you know, space, things like that. But you're not giving up too much here with regards to, I mean, they weigh almost the same. Styling, I think it looks great in both configurations. You get more of a visceral sound here. You do get more sun exposure, the UV rays, you know, from plastic surgery day, seeing all the skin cancer. I'm very careful of that. Very cognizant of that. Big thanks to Fenton from the Zygreen YouTube channel for making this review possible. Big thanks to Jeff, the owner, for letting me review his vehicle. If you want to see your car reviewed on this channel, visit us at jubbalandcars.com. Let me know, what would you choose, the hardtop GT4 or the Spyder? Much love, my friends, and I'll see you guys in that next one. Best car today!